So Tesla stock is in a free fall. Well, not just Tesla, the whole market is really. Is it a good time to jump in, or should you just wait and see what happens? Because looking ahead, in the future, in the next 3 to 6 months, there seems to be more downside to go. Well, if you're on the fence in buying or waiting a bit more, well, this video is gonna bless you. Because we're gonna try to predict, not it's gonna happen or not, but we're gonna try and predict what Tesla stock is going to be every single quarter up until end of 2022. Or until the fourth quarter of 2022, which will be the first few months, couple months of 2023. Get ready guys, because this video is gonna be an interesting one. Hey guys, I'm Curious Pejjy, and I'm a very curious person. If you guys been watching me for some time, then you already know that I'm going all in into Tesla stock. And I'm curious to know, when will Tesla stock recover? When will they hit an all-time high again? And if now is a good time to buy. So if you're curious like I am, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. So if you guys been watching me for some time, then this chart should seem very familiar to you guys. But if you guys are new, I'm gonna briefly go over it so you're up to speed. So we got the current price right now. I'm just gonna say 750. It does change from day to day. Sometimes it goes to 725, 775, 700, 680, whatever it goes to. But let's default keep it at 750 at what the price is now. We got the vehicle delivered in the thousands. The FSD price one time, as you guys can see in 2021, all of 2021, it was 10,000. Now in 2022, they've increased it to 12,000. And so I kept it like that for the entire 4 quarters. Now the reason why I have the one-time fee here and not the subscription base is because that's the only information we have available to us. As soon as we get information by how much people are paying in subscription base per vehicle, per customer, or whatever, we can definitely change that and be more accurate and more detailed to our prediction chart. But for now, we're just gonna assume that whoever gets FSD will pay the full price of 12,000. But obviously, FSD per card is gonna be a whole lot less because they're gonna pay the full 12 grand rather than 200 bucks per month. It makes a very big difference. For example, here, vehicles with FSD in 2021, there was 150,000 of them in 2021, and there was 936 new vehicles on the road. So that gives it a ratio around 16%. I reduced it to 15% just to keep things conservative, because we know that this year, Elon said that by end of this year, we should have 1 million people on FSD. Now that's if that's the case, the number is going to be staggering, and it's going to be it's going to be crazy. So you can think about that we're taking this into a much conservative account. So every vehicle sold, there's a 15% chance that people will get FSD, but in reality, we know that's a lot more than that. But because we don't have solid data on that, I'm just going to go based on this. As you guys can see here, in Q1 of 2022, there was 310,000 vehicles delivered and only 47 FSD, which doesn't make sense. There's a lot more than that, but because it's a 12,000 one-time fee, it does make up for that a little bit, kind of. But anywho, as soon as we get more solid data, this will definitely be changed. But as of now, we're gonna go with this. Then we have the total FSD sales and the profit margin. The profit margin is pretty interesting because we see that the FSD profit margin is extremely high, 44% in 2022, and that seemed to increase to 64% by 2031. So I just kept it at 44% the entire quarter. Average vehicles sold here in the thousands. Obviously, in 2021, we had an average of 50,000. In Q1 2022, in the income statement, it showed around 54,000, actually a bit more than 54,000 per vehicle sold, because of supply chain issues, production, chips, inflation, demand. So all that increased the price. So what I did was I just kept it at 54,000 for the entire quarter of this year. Maybe by the end of this year, we can see the price calm down a bit, but for now, we're just gonna keep it at 54,000. We'll definitely update this as we go every quarter. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Then we got the total vehicle revenue. We got the Q1 revenue that adds up the vehicle sales and the FSD, and the Q1 net income that adds the FSD and the vehicle sales, the profit of it, which by the way, for the vehicle, I kept it at 20%. I know it's a whole lot more than that. I know it's 25%, even 30%, but conservatively, I kept it at 20%. I got Tesla's last 3 quarters revenue and net income. So I add that with the recent quarter. This way we get a full fiscal year. Why do I do this? To justify the PE. As you guys can see here in Q1 of 2022, we have a PE of 93, which gives us a stock price around 750, 760 where we are now. If you kept the same PE as a quarterly base, it'll give you an entirely different number. So here we have to go based on every single fiscal year. And so every quarter, that's what happens. In other words, every quarter is gonna take on the previous 3 quarters to make it a full fiscal year to justify the PE. That way we can get a correct and accurate stock price. We also got the shares outstanding here too. As you guys can see, it is being diluted. I put here on an annual base of 5%. This could decrease because because they are making a lot of money. But you know, with Elon selling shares to buy Twitter and other little bit of dilution here and there, I kept it at 5% to be conservative. And lastly, we got earnings per share. But that's the chart. I hope you guys understand the chart, how it works. It's very straightforward and simple to me, at least. I would like to add more details to it, but I just need more specific details. Previously, when I made a Tesla Q1 stock price update, we had a realistic price ranges from 1383 to 1412. So in this video, let's see how different we are going to be from this number. So it's going to be interesting to see. But now, let's go figure out together what the stock price is going to be every single quarter, starting with an ugly Q2. So in Q2, if the Shanghai factory didn't close down, we could have expected a delivery number between 330,000 to 350,000. But obviously, COVID came, they did a lockdown, and even till today, they're not at full capacity. In fact, they were closed for a solid 23 days. So that's gonna be a big whoop on Tesla's Q2. Like, it's gonna be ugly. How ugly? Let's find out. So let's assume best case scenario that 350,000 vehicles were going to be delivered in Q2 if there was no lockdown and capacity was 100%. Obviously that didn't happen. From April 1st to the 18th, they were fully closed. And in Tesla Shanghai, I think they produced around 2,000 vehicles a day. I think it was 2,600, but let's just say 2,000 vehicles a day. Yeah, that 2,000 vehicles a day did not get produced between the 1st and the 18th. That resulted to about 38,000 vehicles not produced. So that got slashed. Minus that already from the 350,000. But we're not done just yet. From April 19th to today, which is May 21st, Tesla was up and running, but at half capacity. I think it was around 900 vehicles a day. Let's just say 1,000 to be a little more optimistic. They produced around 32,000 vehicles from the day they opened up till today, which they could have done 64,000. So that's another slap in the face. But it gets better. We just saw confirmation that by June 1st, Shanghai or China will open up again finally. Hoping so they would. So that means they're going to continue producing 1,000 vehicles a day from now to the 31st of May, which will result in another 10,000 vehicles produced where they could have done 20,000. So that's slashing another 10,000 less what they could have done more. Sheesh. Overall, when we add the numbers together, they lost about 80,000 vehicles of production, which is just absolutely mad. I really hope Texas, Berlin, Fremont, and Fremont's having some issues there too, they could help out here. We don't know. They could ramp up the production so they can help out, but I doubt at this point they're doing it. Maybe in the next couple quarters, yes, but now, whew, rip. So let's subtract 80,000 vehicles from 350,000 vehicles where we thought at the bullish case they would have delivered in Q2. That would give us 270,000 vehicles for Q2 delivered, hopefully. Now with a PE of 90 will give us a stock price of $900 per share if they do this. Now, what I think is going to happen is once they release how much actual delivery they did in Q2, I think it's in the first few days of July, people are going to overreact, and I think the price will drop pretty low on that day. PE can go low as 70. We can probably see even 700 by like July. Like, that's crazy. Or what could happen by then, everyone gets a lot more optimistic. They say, no, this was a bad quarter for Tesla, but we know that the next quarter 3, quarter 4, it wasn't Tesla's fault. It was Shanghai, COVID lockdown. They couldn't produce. It's not a demand problem. So people could get very excited, and this PE can go to 100. The stock price can range in the thousands. Finally, hopefully. But let's keep it at 90 just to be conservative and to be a little bit safe. Now, by Q3, we hope that by then there's no more COVID in China. They have it under control. Tesla Shanghai is on full capacity, full operational, and they deliver a whooping number of 400 vehicles, because I do believe if nothing is stopping them and there's no more shutdowns in the factory, then there's no reason why they should hit this number, especially with 2 new factories, gigafactories. So hitting 400 I think is realistic. And again, I'm going to keep the PE at 90. We could finally see the stock price hitting 1150, a little over 1150 bucks per share. So, whew, nice. At this point, from experience, if there's no other world drama or bad macro environment going on, things like, inflation, a negative GDP, if the war gets worse, I mean, that's just going to make things a lot worse. If COVID gets worse, taking the fact that none of these 4 will get worse, we can see people being a lot more optimistic. Not only that, if all factories are going crazy and just going full capacity or ramping up like never before, people can see a higher PE of 100 because at this point, they're growing. The number is going to keep stacking up. Demand is they're actually higher than ever before. So there's no reason for them to stop producing. So this will make people a lot more optimistic. So 100 PE would be realistic in that scenario, which will give us a stock price almost hitting 1,300 bucks per share. If people get extremely optimistic. But if things are still bad, people are not optimistic, they're still pessimistic, because right now everybody is pretty much pessimistic. Really, the whole market is saying that too. So let's just say a PE of 80 in that situation. So it'll be around the 1,000 mark. But let's keep it at 90 because I think 90 for 2022 is the year that Tesla becomes under 100 or stays around 100 before next year will come lower to the 80s and 70s and so forth and so forth. So we get 56 bucks per share as the average by Q3, and Q3 is between October 21st all the way to January 20th of 2023. So that's in Q3. Now, if we had a strong Q3, we're all going to be expecting a strong Q4 or a record number in Q4 at least. And so what I put here was 450,000 vehicles to be delivered in Q4. As you guys can see here, we can see year over year growth in vehicles wise is around 53%. Total vehicles delivered is 1.43 million. And that's with if Q2 we get a delivery number of 270. We'll play with this, we'll play around with that number just in a bit. But with this number, we get 1.43 million vehicles delivered, which honestly, it's pretty darn good. Despite the fact that closures, no production, it's pretty good. Now, with 450 vehicles delivered, we can see a Q1 revenue of 25 billion, which is crazy, all record high. But with the PE, I kept it at 90 just to keep things consistent and realistic. I think 90 is gonna be a pretty good number that we're gonna see a lot in terms of PE this year. So with the 90 PE, we get a stock price of almost 1,400 bucks per share, just a little bit shy of that, with a market cap of $1.5 trillion, which is absolutely crazy. But again, if people are a lot more optimistic, we can see a stock price hitting with a PE of 100, 1553. If people are going like, wow, invasion is over, inflation is low, all the interest rates hikes have already been taken place, no more negative GDP, and so everyone is optimistic and bullish. We can see a PE of 100, possibly even 110, which could go on to like 1700. But again, that's just not too sure if it's gonna go there this year. But again, Q4 gets reported next year, first quarter of 2023. Which would be sometime between January 21st of 2023 to April 20th of 2023. So who knows? But keeping at 90 just to be safe and conservative and consistent, we get a stock price of $13.98 if they deliver 270,000 vehicles in Q2, because if they do more than that, then obviously this whole chart will be different. So I'm pretty confident that by Q3 and Q4, these are the numbers that they will deliver, unless COVID just gets extended a lot longer. I highly doubt that. But if China is going to open June 1st back to normal, that's pretty much the beginning of Q3. So let's hope it'll be a strong Q3. So 270,000 vehicles is what we both figured out together what they will do if Tesla delivered 350,000 vehicles in Q2 if there was no Tesla Shanghai factory closure. But let's just say instead of doing 350,000, they're going to do 330,000. So that will bring it down to 250,000 vehicles. As you guys can see here, Tesla stock price averagely could range in Q2 somewhere in the high 800s or the mid 800s. But overall, by end of 2022, stock price will be 1378. Let's just get a little bit more bearish here and let's say 240,000. By the way, that's a 50% growth year over year. If we look here at exactly 1.4 million vehicles delivered. So yeah, that's 50% growth year over year. Stock price doesn't really change as much in Q2, nor does it change by the end of the year, 1368. But let's get extremely bullish and let's say they'll do a terrible Q2. Let's just say 225. I don't think it'll get lower than this, to be honest with you. This is like the lowest of the lowest. We can see the stock price can average in the 850s and the stock price end year of 2022 can be 1353. Highly, I don't believe this will happen because this goes below 48% and I don't think they can hit 225,000. If it does, I mean, that's just extremely bullish, and that's going to make Q3 even a stronger quarter. But let's be a bit more optimistic in Q2 for Tesla. Let's say they did a phenomenal, somehow they pulled off 300,000 vehicles. Okay, I don't know. I don't think this will happen. It's really hard to see this will happen. But let's just say they pulled it off. 300,000 they did delivery in Q2 of 2022. Well, that will give us a stock price on the average of 930 bucks per share, and we can finish off the year with a stock price of 1428 with over $1.5 trillion in market cap. So that'll be crazy. Probably a lot more than that. But I don't know. I'm just going to keep it at 270,000, the number we did together, and keep it at 1398 as a realistic stock price. So overall, the realistic price ranges we can expect by end of this year is 1353 on the low end, and on the high end is 1428, which is literally almost double from where the stock price is now. So that's good stuff. But overall, guys, this is only a prediction and nothing else. So take this with the biggest or the smallest grain of salt, whichever makes the most sense. Now, let's talk about Tesla's stock price in the near term, in the short term. In my opinion, I believe Tesla stock will be dropping a bit more in the short term. And the main reasons is because of interest rate hikes, which doesn't really have effect on Tesla because they don't have much of a debt. They only have 7 billion debt. But due to macro environment, it can take a hit. Maybe the war will get worse. Nobody knows. Inflation is going to continue to rampage, but most likely it'll slow down due to the interest rate hikes. So I don't think this will be an issue. More China lockdowns due to COVID. This will hurt Tesla a lot, as we just saw. But the most important one that could really hurt the entire stock market and probably the whole entire market is the negative GDP coming on the second quarter of this year. This will hurt. I mean, if it shows a negative, we are officially in a recession. If that happens, we can expect a big reaction into the stock market. We could probably witness a major sell-off in every single sector and every single index fund just because of fear and panic and the world's gonna end again. We know that story. Or what could happen is everyone's gonna say, wait a minute, this could be the bottom and now it's time to go up, just like how 2008 was. Nobody knows what's exactly going to happen, but if this second GDP comes and it's negative, man, this is gonna be bad. But what could be a catalyst for Tesla is obviously a good earnings report in Q3, not in Q2, because we all know that Q2 is gonna be very bad. But we could expect a Tesla stock split coming a lot sooner than later. Although it doesn't do too much for Tesla, as we saw with Google and Amazon. I mean, they announced a stock split like months ago and look at the stock price. But in this situation, and because it's Tesla, it could benefit from it just a bit. Now recently, I made a poll on my YouTube channel asking what video you guys want to see next, and you guys really wanted to see a Tesla stock updated video, stock split updated video. The truth is, guys, there's no news. The only news there is that there's a rumor of a 20-for-1 split, but again, that's a rumor. It's hard to make solid facts out of something that's out of a rumor. It's really hard. So at the moment, there's really no big major news of Tesla stock split other than the shareholders vote, which will probably take place in June, latest in October. Once that's done, we can expect something, and then once something does come up, I'll definitely make a video about it. But for now, there's no news. Another massive catalyst can be for Tesla is that once Q2 comes out, everyone has expected the worst and the price is already priced in. People will be looking forward to a monstrous Q3 and we could see a good rally. But if you're like me and you don't care about this quarter or next quarter or the quarter after that and you're in it for the long term, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, well then, this dip should be a gift to you. In my opinion, it's a fantastic time to buy. Personally, I'm going all in even more. Now the price could go lower, but I learned the hard way that you can't time the bottom, and the best thing to do is once you have a solid deal like this, you buy it. You go all ham. And if it does go below that, well, I hope you have some cash around so you can buy it at the better deal. But in my opinion, and my personal opinion alone, I think it's a fantastic time to buy. Price is down almost 50% and it's Tesla. It's bound to become the most valued company in the world in the next 4 to 5 years. There's no doubt about that. But again, that's my opinion, and my opinion alone, that's what I believe in, and I'm gonna stick and put my money where my mouth is. Now, if you guys are a Tesla bull like I am, then you guys probably looking forward to retire on Tesla stock. Well, I got you covered. Check out this video, how many shares you need today to retire on Tesla stock by 2030. This video blew up, a lot of people enjoyed it, and you guys will enjoy it too. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.